past the Tom Kench.
So, Rift Herald denies we're talking about Teddy chunking away at the turret, and even though Flash Wolves managed to pick up the objective, losing first blood, now losing heavily on the gold lead, 2,000 over to the LCK.
Hashtag not worth on this one. They couldn't get turret damage in top. They don't pick up the Rift Herald, and SKT pushed through the mid lane, got the first blood. You can get the replay of this one. It started a bit tentative, but you see how much burst comes in as the Aya just despawned. It's down to 1,300. Smite was true from Enso, but Faker occupies space, and the threat onto SKT is pretty minimal. No one wanted to commit after the objective was already claimed.
We got to see some of the burst potential as well from SKT. And when we talked about how the risky composition from the LCK and the risky composition in towards scaling, seems like they're doing pretty fine in this early game.
But we were talking about scaling in top. As we have to zoom in on this. Speaking of scaling in top,
Hanabi in a 2v1. Domin's going to pop by clear. Pop also is coming down as well. Martha late to the party, but Hanabi manages to get out.
They only forced an ult and a flash though, so it's not the biggest win here. While we do love the Camille scaling into Renekton, and we talked about how it can delete health bar in the 1v1 and split push, do remember it's Vladimir Sivir. Do remember you can kind of ignore the Renekton, just make him a beefcake in teamfight. Ult is popped for the minions to move faster as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
They push in here. SKT, they're going to be too slow to react here. Remember, the Abyssal Voyage on cooldown.
Dragon will be taken as a response, but first turret goes over to the side of Flash Wolves. Block Faker. He's going to work his magic down the bottom side and trade up. So SKT still with the lead, but at least LMS trying to get proactive.
And both teams trying to take objectives along the way after taking outer lane objectives. But just to zoom in and just to finish the point, 5v5 wise, it's hard to look past Flash Wolves at 3-4 items. There's kind of a 2-item window where you can really profit, but when Vladimir can just dive the backline and delete it, then the options for people like Varus become nil. They become, is the Devourer up? If not, you're dead.
Yeah.
So there is going to be a 40-minute win condition here for Flash Wolves, and potentially, if they get a couple of kills, they can just purr along and take out SKT. So there's no guarantees in the 5v5. However, if SKT can play 3 lanes, yes, you do love where the Camille is going.
Which is why we look towards the Trinity Force and how close Khan is to completing it. It's Fade, Sheen in inventory, Tiamat of course there to help clear the waves. So Khan getting closer and closer, and the fact that he's now built a CS lead in this Renekton lane is an interesting fact for the top laner of SKT.
Again, it matters for a time, and then it really doesn't when the team fight starts. So, can SKT ward around the Camille, get value out of the Trinity Force when it's done? These are things that in the past you would say, hell yes. Right now you say maybe, and you're happy to have the 2 victories last week as recent data points, because neither of these teams are coming in at tip-top form.
That's right. So performance in matters here for SKT. Khan trying to move back towards that bottom side. Going to be spotted out as Flash Wolves send 3. Teddy still imminent on clearing out the mid lane, opening up the map here for SKT. And Rather just wants to get out of this lane, but Faker continues smacking him down.
Nika's doing a great Karma impersonation here. If you ask Rather, that's for sure a lot of harassment. And the CS lead, and even the bounty, right? 001 bounty is still present. 200 gold so far. Hanabi.
Good call to make there.
He interrupts the hook shot.
Gonna start DOTing. Hanabi looking for the kill here as Chelsea's coming in, but Khan just walks his way out of it.
Did look a little bit less toothless, a little more toothless than perhaps we expected. The chase there. Both the side lane ganks have been questionable. Faker!
Oh, we're looking for a Hemoplate to come out, drops it. Faker drops Pop Blossom himself as clip. Comes in with his on the hunt. Rather has no escape here. He flashes away. The Escotland doesn't connect with the Tangle Bombs. Does. SKT find another.
The chase potential that they got from the Sivir was really necessary there. When the stun went wide from Clid, they pick up the kill. Only 2 kills in the game so far to SKT. Across the map, we're seeing ganks happen. LCK slightly ahead, but not by a commanding amount yet.
Not yet. 2 kills, 4K gold lead here at 18 minutes, and another Ocean coming up, so more objectives to take on the board.
The gold lead is actually a bit more prominent than perhaps the eye test would have suggested, because those laning phases went so. A Faker in particular has looked levels above Rather. In the 1v1 is a struggle.
Oh, Clint just walks past it, even burns the flash, but you call that work as SKT get the turret in response as well.
Amusingly, it ended up being a bit of a reputation flash rather than a necessary one. He assumed a skill shot would hit or the Renekton will look aggressive. Renekton's flash was down, so it actually ended up being unnecessary. However, Clint, safety first. Just his choice there. Overall,
you can see how Enso's trying to hover around Hanabi, though. This game has been about the top side, and Enso hasn't been able to find that window as once again something goes awry.
And he's trying to take on too much responsibility. Ever since that early gank where he said lead with the Renekton, and Enzo kind of said, nope, it's me, and I'm going to get in there. We're already in a spot. There's
vision. You take the Glacial Prison, you send him to hell, you come in with a Hextech ultimatum, and that control ward paying off dividends.
And now we're bullying after the couple of early mistakes onto Enzo. Like you say, lane control ward. It's a sometimes ward, but damn if it's not an effective one. Good call, didn't give away anything, and so not suspecting it. SKT, the gold lead now is really starting to build. So even though only 3 kills in 20 minutes, they're looking for more.
And well, never meant to keep going on the hunt, going to be caught by Betty, but does he have a chance? The auto almost finishing him off. He's on 13 HP.
I saw almost single digits there. These wards, the differences between SKT and Flash Wolves.
Really, momentum starting to build up though here from SKT. Starting to play more towards the fast pace coming into this mid game. They have control in the mid. They've got that Dragon to take up very shortly. And with Baron now on the menu, more of these picks means it's getting worse for Flash Wolves.
And honestly, Hysterics is kind of reminding me of some 2015 SKT games where Faker was playing like he had his own basketball, when he was just doing his own thing. Everywhere Faker has gone until this moment, good things have happened. He's pushed down so many turrets, and they've never been able to stem the bleeding. Pun, I guess, both un and intended with the Vladimir there. The Hemomancer has just been relentlessly pushed, and the bullying started with Enzo. It's continued with Rather, and now Flash Wolves. We talked about how the early game they had the Renekton option, and then late game the early game Renekton hasn't worked, and suddenly it's kind of get that 5v5 or get split to death. The bridge right now is looking a little bit rickety.
That's right, need to support the foundation here for Flash Wolves. Still relying on the fact that the Sejuani pick that we talked about, and getting that Him Plague in the late game seems even more difficult as Faker now up against Hanabi in the side lane, but he's pushing away. Even Hanabi can't contest him right now.
It's really good to see Faker in such indomitable form. He really does feel like he's playing against the 7th placed LMS team, and that he's Faker. Of course I'm great. It's kind of what's going through his mind, because he's pushing up, he's applying pressure. He's being a solo pressure valve for someone like the Camille to get into the relevancy that right now is online. Ever since the responsive Drake on the bot side, they've piled together 3. Not the best, but you'll take the ones that you're getting. And the LMS squad here just has found no counterpunch in 20 minutes.
So that first kill, of course, with Dragons on the menu. Another Mountain coming up for SKT, so it's going to get worse here for Flash Wolves. Baron fully controlled now as well, and with these pushing lanes and SKT's priority, this starts getting worrisome.
And I'm smirking a bit, Hysterics, because, you know, playing into my idea of kind of Faker just running around on Victor and winning every lane by pushing and taking turrets, you do wonder if he can hit the 700 bounty without getting a kill, which is always a big one. It seems like that's happening around the Varus as well, as a lot of farm has been found. So without really any kill involvement, a lot of gold. In fact, 4 SKT members with bounties with only 3 kills in the game.
Wow, funny. Xiaoxi, that's going to be the lockdown wide binding, and Hangabubs will connect as well. He's still the Lux ult, but he can't get the kill, but Xiaoxi left out in the middle of nowhere, has to flash away with Glacial Prison on towards the support and 80 carry. Teddy flashing himself, but in the backline, can't, starts to knock it away. Betty gets low, he's going to uppercut him for a double kill. Hanabi even drops to the death pile, and for Flash Wolves, everything swept across as SKT show the LCK.
Even that team fight offers nothing for the Flash Wolves. They are routed in the fight by SKT. Camille, apparently an assassin, already slides in double kill. Thank you very much, ends up getting SKT a very clean fight. They're going to get Baron as well. And this is an SKT we have not seen since MSI.
If you're an LCK fan, you're running into this game going, the LCK we believe. And SKT with Baron buff, you start getting very confident.
Oh, absolutely. This is a huge lead, 10,000 gold lead. And this replay, this is a campaign from SKT, it's yes, we can. They come through in this one and dominate them. First, stopwatch required because of the burst damage, and also weren't sure if it was the real Nico or the fake. They re-engage, but Tom Kench actually there to devour the first ult used, and Khan is super decisive in wiping out Betty and Xiaoxi.
Just picked up the Trinity Force, and you can see it paying dividends once again. As left in the middle end, so that's really how this game's gone. Flash Wolves now at a 10k gold disadvantage. And the LCK are moments away from pushing towards that mid lane and looking to break the base.
And the SKT fans calling their mates and saying, turn on the stream, turn on the stream. It was early, but you got to watch it because they've been looking for this sort of performance. It's worth noting, farmed out the early, and Flash Wolves missed some inroads, but after getting a bit of time to, collect themselves, check yourself before you wreck yourself, a famous analogy that's always relevant, they were able to check themselves, and right now, Flash Wolves could just be losing in the very near future.
Hard push, SKT not slowing down, and I remember you talking about the sideline and what Khan could do here now with the Baron buff. Well, that 1-4 in full effect, now going to the bottom lane for SKT, and to break open this base just seems so easy at the moment.
I mean, it's a 3-lane push. Right now, Flash Wolves are really out of the game. There's no way in here apart from an SKT mistake, because even the fallback team fight, they need 50,000 gold. It's a long way away. They got 35,500 to LMS. The one thing that represented the team fight couldn't happen. Anything that on Tom Kench, he cleanses, he walks away.
So easily. They turn him back around as well, man. So you think he's a tank, but he goes that quickly.
He's got a Kindle Gem and a prayer. Nothing he can do. And so, unfortunately, really struggling, trying to come in. Flash Wolves, it has to be mentioned, had no level of rhythm in the LMS. Only picked up their first victory after 5 best-of-3 losses in a row. It's definitely looking like that as SKT are playing with their food.
That's right. It was get the Alpha team, remember, so middle of the pack for Flash Wolves. They're going to have to do a lot better in this tournament as SKT just breaking down windows once again. This inhibitor there, bottom side as well. For Flash Wolves, the miracle, long past gone. As an SKT like this, you can rally behind, you can get excited about. Then past 2 series wins, this game looks to be on top.
If you're sitting there and it's Flash Wolves of a different era, you say 8-0, almost a perfect game, only first turret to the LMS, SKT are back, you have to check yourself on that analysis right now, because LMS right now with Flash Wolves in very poor form. It has to be noted. The good news for SKT fans is if you just look at their side of the play, you might have wanted to see more early action. After that, what they've been doing has a lot of internal consistency and has been very well played on a macro and micro level. Haven't been able to say about them so far in summer, but the opposition has to be questioned, and you want to see them pay this forward to that eventual first round robin ender against Invictus game.
Great way to start Rift Rivals as well, and SKT's ability to play up, or rather at this point, to play to a better footing than Flash Wolves has been shown. And this is just some of the lane differences. And Fake is the one you look at because he has whole-handedly this whole game taken over.
I mean, he has just the most gold, 12,100 with no kills.
It's pretty sick.
600 bounty on Teddy as well, but he's got kills now. To ramp it up, the Glacial Augment Nico is his most played in solo queue recently, farming out with Azir and Nico every game he can get it. They're looking to break the bases, tanking it up.
Yeah, they just run forward. They get the slowdown onto the bottom lane support. Flash Wolves left with 1 inhibitor up. They find the Glacial Prism, but remember, SKT so far ahead, it's going to require a miracle. The ultimate again from Lux, but look at Khan in the back line again. SKT take down the Renekton, and Khan is untouched. He can't die. Someone stop the Scissor Leg Lady. As Khan walks forward, the rest of Flash Wolves drop, and SKT walking through this game without a death on the board. Number 12. Clint doesn't want to make that number 1 for Flash Wolves. They will eventually, and the LMS absolutely routed.
This Camille is like something out of a Tarantino movie. She's so aggressive, she's so strong. They're diving Nexuses. Holy moly, this one's done.
Level 17 Camille, Khan states his command here in the first game of Rift Rivals with an LCK win. Feels pretty good for the crowd.
SKT golden in front of their adoring home fans. They've been looking for a performance like this. They finally get it. And while you can say what you will about the Flash Wolves power level, SKT's internal consistency is strong. All you can do is beat the team laid in front of you, and SKT demolished them.
What a great game from Khan in the top lane on the Camille, but each and every lane of SKT felt like a powerhouse there. And it wasn't that Clint had to do too much. He just hit the right windows, the right moments, and suddenly everything opened up for the SKT.
SKT and LCK fans definitely buoyed by that one. What does it mean? We'll know in hindsight. What does it mean for right now? SKT, the MSI representatives, bow to their local fans. The LCK pick up the first victory in the LMS with lots of question marks to return to.
Lots of question marks. The Flash Wolves, and we never thought they were the strongest team, but you're right, the name behind them, the experience, the history behind this rich organization is there, and you still have players like Betty, Hanabi, that you put your faith in. That just wasn't shown here in this first game.
Unfortunately, when you go Renekton Sejuani, you need to make the inroads work on the Renekton, and it feels like it was like the country curse of Korean Renekton rather than an LMS team bringing in a foreign strat that works really well. Unfortunately, Enso and Hanabi on different wavelengths. They've only got 2 professional games together on the LMS stage. Very, very young jungler. is Enzo, and it didn't slide in. It was pretty poorly put together, and that would be one the coach would be ripping his hair out a little bit because it could have been different, and yet just wasn't well done.
Because remember, you saw Enzo in their last game of the regular split as well, and then you see last game before we came to Rift Rivals, and you ask, wow, Flash Wolves with the new identity, the ramp up for them. But there's no ramp up like the SKT ramp up after that game 1.
You come in with low expectations for both teams, but SKT on their side do well. We want to see them turn this into both LCK success next week and also first the IG game, where it's a really interesting IG.
Yep.
They'll still have an asterisk if they beat IG because Rookie hasn't been in that lineup. But all SKT can do is play their side well. They've had a lot of struggles in Korea doing that in summer.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. For SKT, remember that this team is the powerhouse of Korea, so it's pretty exciting, and I believe we have an interview standing by as well from SKT. We're going to talk to Khan, who just kicked ass on Camille.
Get it up there. I want to hear from this man. His Camille this game. It was against Renekton, right? And maybe he got the breathing room.
Yep.
But if he got too much of an introduction, he certainly rammed it down their throats with that level of aggression, because we were waiting for Teamfight Renekton. Turns out Teamfight Camille was the real top lane character.
At 26 minutes having 2 items. I mean, that's saying something. So I know there's a lot of questions behind how SKT will go forward, but this to me still feels like enough of motivation for the LCK as a region that SKT were a question mark, an element like IG are for the LPL.
When it comes to Rift Rivals, though, and a team like SKT, it's a lot of what does it mean? In fact, we have to be impressed. I am very impressed about the SKT side, but given all the asterisks, we know in hindsight, just like last year when we had some of our Korean teams struggle at Rift Rivals, and that turned out to be world struggles, a lot of teams fell away after Rift Rivals. We knew in hindsight what it meant, but in the time we were like, Now I've got a beard, though, so I get to do this. Which
now you're wise.
It's higher. It's definitely the high elo. You know what I mean? Like, the beard definitely helps it out.
I can't grow one. I have to shave off anything I have.
That doesn't surprise me.
You saw me last night with a bit of scuff. Wasn't exciting.
At least your cast wasn't scuffed. even if yesterday
It's good to cast with you for the first time.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
In a matchup that, like, honestly, going forward, this will be a great way to mark it. Because remember how we have JDG going up a little bit later, and how we have teams like, EVOS coming through, DAMWON as well. I think this is a good benchmark.
It's a high benchmark if you just want to play like SKT, because recreating that against any opposition, like if you play like that in a game, you're going to win it, right? With the nameplates on or off on the enemy team, the SKT side, after about 8 minutes, they got way too much of breathing room. The fact that the Renekton couldn't get going was something you just couldn't assume, because we've seen the pop-ups. Even in the LCK, we saw Smeb03 very early against the Elise Renekton duo. That's one that I think that the Flash Wolves will return to and kind of question. Like, if that's going to be the performance, just don't play Renekton. Go for something that can scale a bit harder. Guys, we just got sounds like the interview is almost ready here. We're getting the update. We just want to throw it to it, and we just want to get more games going, because first game on 9/13, first game of LCK, LMS and VCS, LPL Rift Rivals, and finally, first interview.
The win over to Khan with Jisa.
In the opening match, we'll meet SK Telecom T1's Khan, who just took out Flash Wolves. How do you feel about your victory? First of all, no, there was some pressure due to us playing the opening match. I think we made a very clean start, so that's very meaningful for us. Do you feel more confident playing the Rift Rivals this year in your home turf? No, there are a lot of numerous fans who support us, so we can concentrate for the better in the games. No, recently Silas has been researched a lot as the jungler. What was the motive of picking Silas? No, internally we decided that Silas was a very good pick as a jungler, and I think today it just delineated our predictions as well. All right, any last words? All right, as the first seed of LCK, we will try our best to play and live up to the expectations. Thank you. That'll be it for the interview.
탑. 안 걸렸어.
레넥.
얘 노조냐. 블라디 노조냐.
못 봐줘. 밖에. 럭스.
나 먹어줘. 이거 잡자. 아, 퍼펙트인데.
뭐야?
세영이 일부러 안 먹었어.
아 먹어줘.
안 배불티. 난 박지성만 먹는다.
오케이.
수고요.
나이스. 수고요.
time to catch my breath. Do you feel the same way too? I shake out the work week and I feel this freedom sinking in. I just wanna see you. Oh, let's get out, wind down, paint this town.